Geocachomaniacs.
Geo Gearheads.
Well, hello, and thank you for choosing to listen to Geo Gearheads. This is a weekly podcast about geocaching and geolocation games. I am your co-host, Chris of the Northwest, along with your illustrious and sometimes illustrated host, Daryl W4.
You know, I think I could use to be illustrated.
Yeah.
It might make me look a little bit more talented.
Oh, you're drawn to it.
I'm drawn to it. Oh my, oh my, oh my. But you know what? We've got a couple of guests coming on the show today to talk about a very, very new and exciting venture, we'll call it, I guess. It's not a geo tour.
It's an adventure.
It's an adventure. So let's welcome to the show, Lookout Lisa and Kid Vegas.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Thanks for having us on again.
Yeah.
Oh, always a pleasure. And we're very excited to talk about the new adventure. But before we do, we should remind everyone that this weekend, which is the 15th, technically, is International Geocaching Day for 2020. So any day, either day, not really any, because it's only two, but either day this weekend, if you go out and log any geocache, you'll get that souvenir. And of course, it's International Geocaching on Saturday, so you just got to get out and find a geocache, so you know you prove you're not a geocaching podcaster.
Hey, what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that we started a YouTube channel in part so that we can actually force ourselves to go out caching.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You know, those of us doing podcasts kind of get most of our time behind the microphone and not enough time out caching.
That's true.
Try running a geocaching business.
Yeah, see, that's always my fear, is whenever you turn your hobby into your vocation, things don't go so well with the hobby anymore.
Yeah.
So let's actually
Don't
get
forget, each find is worth points on your memory lane if you're way behind,
true.
and the wonders of the world.
Yes.
That's right. And it's 2 days. It's both Saturday and Sunday this year. I don't remember it being 2 days last year. I thought it was only one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most of the time it's been one, but they've been a little bit more open this year. So I don't expect that this will last. I think this was kind of a concession to allow people a little bit more time.
A concession to 2020?
Yes, because that's what 2020 is.
Boy. Isn't it though? But you know what? Our guests this evening made no concessions whatsoever. They pushed ahead and they launched a whole new set of geocaches for us to go find. What are those called?
Lab adventures.
What? Wait, I was really lucky. I got one today, my first lab adventure. How did you get so many?
Well, it was a big team effort, actually.
Okay.
Big team effort.
Yeah. So, every year we put on a coin challenge and we start planning in January for, the next summer, what our plans are going to be. And in the middle of it all, COVID hit and we couldn't even publish geocaches for 2 months here?
Yeah, easily.
Easily. Yeah. And during the winter, I was awarded a lab adventure with 5 locations. And my plan was to use that as kind of the runner up to our coin challenge before COVID hit. And then when that all happened, geocaching.com extended the timeline quite a bit. Well, they did it twice, I think. So we still have a couple of another month or two for people to publish if they were awarded previously. And as a team, we started being awarded a few more.
Yeah.
And before we knew it, there were 4 of us that had lab adventures awarded. And for 2020, we were only going to do require 20 geocaches to qualify for our coin challenge. And with 4 lab adventures, that gave us, times 5. Each one has 5 locations. There's our 20. So we thought, let's go touchless this year. Lab adventures, we can publish. We don't have to go through any review process. Nobody has to touch anything. It's all contactless. So let's make it a lab adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were meeting and putting our plans together, we met on Zoom, our team here. More and more of us were being awarded lab adventures, and we ended up with 9 of them. So we actually have 45 locations, but you only need 20.
Yep.
Nice. So basically, this is an even swap, as it were, for like a geo tour, but it's going to be the passbook essentially that you do with the lab caches. So you only need 20 of those to claim to get the coin, but of course you can do all 45.
Right. And it's not just a random 20. You need to complete 4 full sets.
4 complete sets, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. I like that plan, but it probably makes sense anyway, because I would imagine if you just start one set, you're going to finish it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see about that.
Yeah. No, yeah. Problems can come up, or you can get distracted. Yeah, but
and I can see where you have like maybe some interconnecting series where like one series is on this particular topic and takes you around, these 2 miles, but you have like that Venn diagram between a second one that's a different topic.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So share some locations, maybe. Well, yeah, and probably not even that, but just in close proximity to other locations.
Yeah, it's very close. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was important to us because when you're working on a lab, on the app for lab adventures, you can only see that one set. And so you can walk right by, other lab adventures or locations on them. And so we were very careful to map everything out and include a printed map as part of the passport that's color coded by the different adventures. So, I'm going to be doing, this set, but very close and possibly even passing by a couple other. So you see them on the map, on the printed map.
Sure. And this is perfect for the times we're in right now because it is touchless. You don't have to worry about anything that has to be wiped down or sterilized. And you don't have a geocache, though, or an event this time, which normally I seem to remember that you had a huge kickoff.
Yeah.
We would have a get together the night before the kickoff. And then that would include generally releasing the night cache of the series. And then the next morning would be the gathering for the official kickoff group picture. And 9:30, the phones start dinging and people are gone.
Yeah.
All the donuts are ours.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Whatever's left. Yeah. And we would hand out passports. So nobody would receive their passport until about 9:15 in the morning normally. But this time, since the locations, even though you knew the location, you don't know the question that you're answering for a lab adventure, we could actually release our passports a week early for people to download and be ready to have them. And then at 9:00 on Saturday, we all just toggled on our lab adventures on our computers or our phone, and whoop, there they were.
So yeah, that fell under one of the lessons learned. If you're shooting for a time frame and a time minute stamp to launch, lead it by about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, because that's about how long it took.
Yeah.
We all punched in at 9 and
nothing
wait
happened.
a minute. And they just sort of pop up here and there 3 minutes later. Yeah. So if you want to be precise, remember that.
Go early. Yeah. Or we even had, I think one group, they had something else happening at 9:00. So they published theirs a few hours earlier.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes it a little bit more challenging because you don't have that central control of when everything's going to post.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And that was a trade-off. So I'm not sure how other groups set up their coin challenges, but we use one account. And the individuals who set up the cache will go into that account, write it up, and so on and so forth. What happens is the one account has full control and can see everything. and it leaves the hiders out. Now they got to do a watch list, and it's really, it's not difficult. It's just a pain to watch your cache that you're supposed to hide. And now this is just the opposite. The lab holders know everything, and the central control is saying, hey, what's happening? How many do you find? What's going on?
Because you can't transfer ownership of lab adventures.
Right. Yeah. There's no adoption or anything like you have with caches and with trackables.
Right.
At least not yet. Who knows? That might come down the road, but it's still an early stage product.
Yeah, we've found some things that we would like to feed back to geocaching.com about some of the, not necessarily the workflow, but the presentation. And one thing that I think to a person in our group found annoying is whether you were sequential or not, whenever you found your fifth one, it went to the congratulations screen. You've completed this set, and never presented the location completion screen that had your codes and so you got to know to go back to your journal entries and look that one up.
So often on each of the completion windows that pop up for the user, that's where we'll put in special bonus codes or what they need for turning in their passport. So it just skips that very last one. So people don't always know to go back into their journal inside the app to then view, to get that information that they need for the passport, so they can earn their coin.
Ooh.
That's
really good
on our passport. What was that, Chris?
I was going to say, that's really good to know that, even though that page seems to be skipped, it's still there and it's completed. You're just going to have to go find it. Did you put information like that on the passport?
Yeah. I didn't receive any feedback if it was helpful or not, but I felt better that it was on there.
Yeah. And you can always go back and view them. My particular set has a bonus cache, a mystery cache, and each completion page gives you a couple of the bits of information that you need to find the bonus. So you could always go back and view that to put it all together.
Nice.
Similar. Mine was instead of a bonus cache, I made a trackable. So I just put different components of the trackable on the different finish screens, and then in my write-up told them you'll line them up in this order. And you don't have to do the labs in this order, but line them up in this order to get the code for the trackable.
Nice.
And then discover it then? Yeah.
Yep.
So GSM Times 2 said that this is a pain. He moved the bonus information to the fourth location to avoid that, and just trust that people will get the fifth location.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it skips right over it.
Yeah, we were contemplating something very similar with the code word for the password or for the passport. And but people are seeming to deal with it okay.
Yeah.
Good. I'm sure it was very different for you this year not to deal with a reviewer, since your individual members are self-publishing for that. But it all worked out well, huh?
Yeah, that was very different. Putting together a usual GeoCoin challenge or GeoTour, you have proximity issues. You have a review process that you go through. You have to put a physical container out as well. And then the caches are locked by the reviewer before they're published, so you can't make any changes to them. So it's quite a lead up of time. We actually have it timed out, back to, we know our launch date, and then, when caches have to be in the ground, when they have to be reviewed, and then they're going to be locked or beta tested. With labs, you just set it up and press go. There isn't any reviewer involvement. We don't have to worry about proximity to another geocache location or to other labs. And however, you do have to worry about if you put out a bonus cache.
Right.
through the same process, and it actually is locked by the reviewer before it's published.
And I understand it does not publish until the lab is made live.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you have anybody beta test these labs to make sure that it worked? And
Well, that's one of the differences between the regular challenge and the lab adventure setup is it seemed easier because, there were no physical caches to hide. And it seemed easier to beta test because you could do it from your couch. There's no geofencing when it's in test mode.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that part was, a lot easier. We also learned that you need to make the map. The map becomes much more important, as Lisa was saying, because of the Venn diagram effect.
Overlap.
Yeah. But what we learned is, it seems to be easier, but really it's not. You need to, we should have had people with feet on the ground doing them as close to the coordinates as they could. That would have been beneficial.
Yeah, to make sure the code words and your answers really made sense. And people's coordinates were right.
And people's coordinates right. Yes, a lot like a challenge, a GeoCoin challenge. Coordinates are important, it turns out. You thought you'd get sort of close and put a 50-meter geofence on it, you're good, right?
Yeah, location.
And we also learned you have a beginning location. This is where the pin on your lab adventure map shows up, which the icon has changed, by the way. And that one is important because if you transpose a digit or two, you're way off in the next county. People go, why do I got to drive out there?
Yeah.
And then drive all the way back for the first one.
And we keep a really detailed spreadsheet it's a Google Doc, so all of our team members can update it with their information of all their different locations, their code word, the name of the cache, and if it was a regular coin challenge, is the cache planted? Is it reviewed? Is it locked?
Yeah.
All those details. But we failed to keep track of that one coordinate where the starting coordinate is, of where the cache, the lab adventure shows up on the lab adventure map. And so they weren't always spot on.
Yeah.
Because we didn't beta, we just missed that.
But luckily, when we launched, we had a first wave of beta testers and and we got some feedback back, which was another one of our lessons learned is for any group that's going to do this, the hiders, if they can, monitor, at least the morning, the first to finders coming through. And I was surprised on mine, the first to finders were saying this was really tough. And I'm saying, well, why was it tough? It was easy for me. I knew where all the locations were. So using their comments, and this was really good. I could go in and edit my stages. I began adding little hints to look for where the answer was, because, like I said, I knew where it was, and that became helpful because then the following finders were not mentioning that. They're saying, "Hey,
solve the problem."
Yeah. And then I had to move the coordinates more because I was trying to have them stand back where they could see everything, and they weren't being able to see everything. So I moved the coordinates right on top of what I wanted them to see, and that helped. And so that's pretty cool. That flexibility right there. You don't have to worry about the reviewer, because I'm sure some of us moved ours more than 40 feet.
Right.
More accurate.
Yeah. Just really strange not to see everybody and have a big event. We're just sitting, in our comfy clothes at home. And so that part was different.
Gia sometimes too says that they're really recommending that people beta test, like they say, people with feet on the ground, checking geofencing and wording. Doing it yourself is like proofreading your own writing.
Yeah, you look right over your own mistakes.
Yeah, you know what you meant to say there. So you just read it as what you intended.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and JD, I listened to what you said, and it's like you solving your own puzzle, right? Oh, well, it's obvious where to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is obviously a 1.5 difficulty. I know where it's at.
Yeah. I think one thing that we didn't take advantage of is the you can set your lab adventure to test, and then it gives you a link to give to people like our other team members, and you can test it from home. But there's also another way you set it to private, and so then it's actually live, but you have to have the information. It's not going to show up on the map, and that's where that boots on the ground. I think that setting we never really used that.
And we're not sure if what happens when our beta testers finish in that mode. Now has this become part of the find record?
I don't think so.
Well, my guess would be yes, it is, because it's probably just dropping the public tag essentially. So it's in the full mode, just not listing it on the site.
Okay.
So it's just turning off the visibility, because that's the way a lot of the other services work. So I'm inferring, but we'll have to give that a shot. Though someone in our research department might already know the answer to that and let us know.
Yeah, if Scott has an idea, that'd be great.
But yeah, I was thinking of doing.
We're looking at you.
I'm sorry, what was that, Chris?
I said, yes, GSM times 2. We're looking at you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of doing with Renee's when she's actually releasing hers. Doing the testing, is have her put it into the private mode so we can really test it out.
Yeah, I think that's recommended. Yeah.
Yeah. For that, we don't care whether it counts or not. But it would be nice if you could reset that when you actually exit beta mode.
So just real quick, I want to answer you, Dak. And yes, Mappy Hour was postponed tonight. It's postponed till tomorrow night.
It's Friday nights.
When it's usually on Friday night.
Oh, yes.
Now, in the years past, you have done all sorts of different themes in your GeoCoin challenges. So this year's a little different. How long does it take to complete the series if you want to do all 9?
I think
a lot of the people that commented on my lab set did it in a day. My first definders did all 9 in a day. Getting the 4 you need in a day is even easier.
Yeah. Yeah, we've learned that our challenges, we want people to be able to be successful in one day.
Okay.
The day of caching, to earn their coin, but to do all 9, I think some people were spending a weekend. I know some people are stretching it out over a couple of weeks. And we're starting to hand out coins a week from Saturday, the 22nd.
For our local people, or people want to pick them up.
Yeah, it's a Facebook event, not an official event. So it'll be curbside service.
Nice.
Outdoors.
We're wearing face coverings
and touchless. So you're just going to throw the coins through the open windows or sunroofs?
That's an option. We haven't settled on anything yet. We're thinking maybe 6-foot tongs.
I bet grabbers.
The frisbee,
It depends on how big the coin is. It could be a frisbee on its own.
Yeah. It's good size.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
Wow, that is nice looking.
Yeah, let me get that out of the way there. Can you see that all right?
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Back side. This is a sample, so it doesn't have a tracking code on it.
Oh man, that's the first thing I was looking for too. I bet the equation you'll get a tracking number, won't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is what we kind of call a hybrid. It is a tag, but it's iron based, so it's heavy like a coin. It has a hand feel like a coin, but it works really well when we have a lot of detail because it's actually pad printed. Is that the right word?
No.
No, it's printed.
Screen
print.
Screen.
Full screen.
And then it has an epoxy, so it's thick as well. It has a nice feel to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Going back though, our research department came through, and GSM Times 2 says, I thought it was, but found out last week that it did not count. Giabello and I completed the Adventure Lab, but it didn't show on the stats in private mode.
Okay, that's good to know.
Now they have to go back and get credit. So that is excellent news, because that means it is truly a beta test.
Mhm.
So the
Right.
test mode of the Adventure Lab Builder is essentially your like run through from wherever you are.
Yeah.
But the preview mode, or the private mode, is your actual beta test mode.
Boots on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can check your geofencing. Yep.
Yeah, and we just kind of missed that. It wasn't really in the documentation on how to set it up, but I noticed. But
Yeah.
which
Oh, Karen said our carload of 7 did 7 of 9. Our carload did 7 of 9, and we'll do the other 2 on Saturday. So
perfect.
there you go. We got 7 done in a day.
Yeah.
So that's one of our team members.
Okay.
Yeah.
She sort of knew where they were. Oh, but then she had the app, so she knew where they were.
Yeah. 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 She hit one of them. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, within her carload, they probably hit almost half of them. Yeah.
So you're saying your mileage may vary.
Yep.
Definitely. Yeah.
So have you gotten much response as to whether people like this better or worse, or just it's different than the physical caches?
Yeah. A lot of people have thanked us for being creative and coming up with something different that they could do during COVID. Just a few counties over, they can't even hide or publish new caches yet, like the Tri-Cities area. And so they're like, oh, thank goodness, something to go do. And we've had a lot of people saying, what a unique way to spin it this year and come up with something fun and safe. Yeah, and you have some stats for us.
I do. What do you want to know?
Numbers.
Numbers. So, like we said, we launched 9 sets of labs, and I got not all of my precincts have reported. So I have I have 8 here, and I think before I start, one of the other feedbacks we'd like to provide to geocaching.com is it provides you the first to finder for your lab, and that's good to know, but it doesn't go away. And then gives you the top 3. Okay, and then once the top 3 is filled in, that never changes. And then it gives you the first 10. And once that's filled in, the only time you know somebody is finding it is if they leave comments when they're done. If and so you can count those up, or it gives you 20 comments, but 30 people could have found it. 10 of them didn't leave comments. There is a button you can get comma separated file. It gives you no names, just pure numbers, which is better than nothing.
And you do know how many locations have been completed, and then how many have completed the entire set. But it's just a number. You don't know who.
Yeah. So this is where statistics becomes interesting, because we can spin it any which way we want. But overall, just combining all 8 that I have data for, we've had 236 total completions, of all 5 labs in a set. Okay, so that's interesting. 245 participants. So not every participant is, we're not batting 1,000 that all of them are being found. So now the 245 participants, this is where we need to slice and dice. Okay, there weren't 245 people, but it averages about 30.625 participants per lab. lab set.
Hmm.
So, but not every lab set had 30 participants. Some had 25, some had 35. So there's a core group of people that went around and has done them all by the time we pulled these stats.
These were pulled yesterday, mostly.
Yeah, mostly yesterday.
Yeah.
And this is where you can tell they're disconnected at HQ, because somebody's calling them locations while you build them, but they're total stages when you're looking at stats. So total locations or stages complete for our 8 labs up through Tuesday was 1,199. And so that, if you convert this in your mind to physical caches, if each of us hid 5 physical caches, the same number of people came and found them, that this equates very closely to the numbers I would run at the beginning of our other challenges.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So basically, per lab set, there were 29 3/4 total completions with 3.5 participants, 30.5 participants. And the total stages was right around 150 complete. And again, this was with the 8 on there. We've had, now back to all 9, because I could gather this, we're averaging a 4.6 star rating with 19.1 responses per rating. So that's pretty good. We have two labs that are at a 4, 3 labs that are at 4.5, and then 4 labs that are at 5-star ratings. So
Kind of think of those as like favorite points in a way, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I noticed, we have labs that are all different configurations. We have 2 that are very tight, very tight, and
Walkable, less than a mile.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
and they have by far the most participants. And then as the further a lab stretches out, the less participants are.
Yeah.
Actually, we have 3 that are tight, and they're the ones that have the most.
Yeah.
And so my lab is like right in the middle of that, and I'm right in the middle of the participants. It's very interesting.
Yeah. So if you want people to finish your lab, if you've been awarded one, keep it tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep it a small proximity, small footprint.
If you can. Yeah.
If you can, if it fits your theme.
Mhm.
Actually, yeah, I love the idea of these being walkable, because to me, that's where this really makes the most sense.
Mhm.
Get out in like a small town, a small park, whatever, and really find a theme, explore it, do a history tour, do a story, something
Mhm.
that gets you out of the car and doing something cool.
Right. Yeah, and that's what a lot of our team members work towards. Traditionally every year we have one theme, and all of our hides are to
Right.
do with that one theme. But this year we let everybody do their own, set of 5 themes. So we've got lots of different themes.
Oh yeah, some
Good
are
variety.
they're
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know where people come up with their creativity, but they're not sharing it with me.
So do you have any of these stories in this one, or is this all like more collect the fact about this interesting location type thing?
We have both.
Why don't you talk about yours?
Well, mine's weird. So one of the stories is our team member made it tight within our industrial park here, and taking you to plastic silos that hold the plastic, truck way stops and stuff. But the theme was tag. You're supposed to catch her, tag her, and you always missed. You just missed. Oh, you almost got me. So that was pretty cool. Another one had everything to do with eagles.
Yeah.
So every stop there was an eagle that this is what you were using to get the coordinates from. That was neat. We had, I didn't even know they were called this till we started, but ghost murals downtown. And that's the old advertisings painted on your buildings, your brick buildings that are all faded and whatnot. And then of course the really cool, Spokane has Riverfront Park. They've had an addition to it. And one of our team members was able to put a really tight, very interesting a lab there and got lots of hits. Yeah.
New park. Yeah. Along the river.
And then our old park, Manitou Park, is a big hit.
That's real popular. Yeah. It's beautiful anytime of year to tour through Manitou Park. Yeah.
And then we have the brewery tour.
Yeah.
People love that one as well. Our team did well. Mine was weird because I was trying to point out in a nice way that the two apps don't talk to each other. Okay, so if you want a lab cache, you got to have your geocaching app or GPS going as well. And I this was the premise of mine. And so all of my labs were very, very near the highly favorited caches in the area.
Yeah. Without
saying, you're near this very highly favorited cache. I hope you have your app open so you can, if you want a cache, you can go get it. So and it helped. There were some people from out of town that hadn't found them before. So
you drew them with the lab app or lab location to a great geocache as well. But you have to have both apps open or phones running or something.
Yeah.
Pay attention to that.
So there's an excuse to have a GPSR.
That too. Yeah.
And that's what made mine weird.
Yeah. And mine was a Spocache memories. So each location had to do with the previous 5 years of our coin challenges. And unfortunately, it was a little bit of a driving for the first 1, 2, then you got to the third one, then you could walk to the fourth and fifth one from there.
So hybrid tight.
Well, yeah, hybrid tight. Yeah. We covered the entire county, with all of our challenges. So I kept it fairly close.
Well, and of course, geocaching.com is reopened to anyone who doesn't already have the credit or an existing lab cache. But you also have to found 2 adventure labs.
Right.
So, if you've got, if you're a premium member, I forgot to mention that. If you're a premium member, have at least the 2 adventure lab cache finds and have not already done an adventure lab active or a credit, meaning you haven't created it, you can actually go to the link and request your own adventure lab credit, which I've done because I didn't get one yet.
Oh,
but run over to, we'll have that link in the show notes and try it. And we've been getting a lot of great information here that I'm sure people who haven't yet created their lab caches, adventure labs, can put to good use.
Good.
And one of the questions that seems to keep coming up is do you want a sequential or a random order for your labs? Do you have any feedback on whether people like or don't like those?
Not necessarily from our launch and our series. Okay. We have one that is sequential. It did suffer technical difficulty on opening day. They got it solved. But the feedback, interestingly, came from Mappy Hour. And we talked about it. And it is, the feedback was, if you can absolutely avoid it. But if you have to do it, then do it.
Yeah. The problem is if there's something missing or somebody just can't figure out one stage, they can't go any further. They're stuck. And they can't complete it or at least find other locations. So in mine, I recommended that they did it in order, starting with the first year of our coin challenge, the second year to the third year. And it actually made a route, really. But they didn't have to. So.
Yeah. And then during Mappy Hour, one of the feedbacks where an example of where it absolutely had to be sequential made absolutely perfect sense because they were telling an exact story and it had to be done in that order. And I can see the benefit of that as long as like these people, it's tight, it's doable, it's not going to be necessarily difficult. And so, but yeah, I was certainly going to make mine sequential so I could present my tracking number in order.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can just tell them how to put it in order and let them do it any which way.
Mm-hmm.
And that worked out.
Yeah, just put like blanks in or something, and here's these numbers. So yeah.
A equals.
Yeah, and generally the feedback that I've been getting is unless there is that very, very specific need, like maybe you're walking them in this order to take them to your final or something like that, don't do the sequential.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I even got feedback on that is, you know, if you're trying to lead them to your bonus cache, yeah, you don't have to do the bonus cache the next step. You can do it the next day.
Yeah.
You know, you got the info.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what tipped the scale for me. Yeah. And we have a team member that one of our meetings, he said, if it's sequential, he will not rate it higher than a 3.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. So our advice is probably avoid the sequential. You can recommend it like I did. And I know some people did mine out of order, but also mine was the furthest northwest of all of them. So I think they were driving up on their way and got the second one and the first one and then worked their way back. So yeah, I don't know. If you're telling a story, I do understand the plot, you know, narration that you want to lead people along a path. So we can all play the game our own way.
Yeah, and one of the things that occurs to me is at least this way you don't have to deal with things like muggles.
Right. Yeah. You just look like you're playing Pokemon or being a tourist.
Yeah, I was going to say it's more like a tourist, you know, doing some kind of scavenger hunt. You know, you've got, it kind of reminds me of the hidden Mickey games that people play in the Disney parks. You're going in collecting the, you know, can you find the hidden Mickey in this mural?
Yeah, because you're not pulling anything out and fiddling with it and putting it back. You're not going to.
Yeah, it's all very public information.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, you're still going to look weird, but at least you don't look troubling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good point. Yeah.
So I'm looking at the chat here. I got to clarify with GSM times 2. He's saying, of course, JD, and then his next post is saying is weird. So
that was referring to your.
He's weird.
You said your adventure was weird.
Oh, okay. I love it.
Did you find a good correlation to the number of Adventure Lab finds and bonus cache finds?
Oh, I don't think we looked at that.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
There were many more, probably double the Adventure Lab completions as there were the bonus finds. So for 20 lab completions that had a bonus, there were 10 finds logged when I went to check on Tuesday. Yeah. And then same with mine, which was a trackable. It ran right about there, you know, the same thing. I got some more trackable entries today as people figured out how to put them in order.
Oh, logging. Yeah, because that was your bonus. Yeah. And not all of our labs had bonuses.
Yeah, not all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so, I do like the concept of having the trackable better because, again, it's sticking with that touchless theme.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. People might not want to go for the physical container at the end right now, and because they are still a little scared.
Yeah. So actually, the bonuses for any in our lab series were totally optional. You did not need the bonus to qualify
for the passport.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the coin. Oh, and also this year we added a new bit. You could turn in your passport electronically. So I built a form where they would put in their answers and their mailing information, and then we'll ship out one of these, or just hold on to that if they're coming back, and we can hand it out. We'll have a couple of events throughout the fall for flinging out awards.
Very nice.
Yeah.
We did get a tip from GSM Times 2, though, saying that it's amazing how many signs can change over time. One of the people had a plaque change as she built the Adventure Lab.
Yeah, that happens.
I'm wondering if teammate Karen's going to chip in here. She's the one that did the Eagles, right? And so we were out. We actually are doing a beta testing one of hers on the ground just to make sure where it was, and it was a billboard with an eagle on it. And I messaged her. I said, "Well, what happens when they change the billboard?" She says, "Well, I'll come up with a story how the eagle flew away, because you don't need the eagle, you need the serial number of the billboard." And I think launch day it had changed.
I changed the message. Yeah.
Wow.
She accused me of having paid somebody to change it.
Yeah.
And was that expensive?
That's what she said.
Yeah. Luckily, that wasn't the answer, but it made the question confusing.
Well,
Yeah.
she changed the description and then it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she got that done right away.
Yeah, stuff happens. Yeah. So I did want to make a mention, the geocaching, or the Geo Challenge of the month for August is to find a lab cache or a lab adventure. So we were able to coordinate that with Joshua to come out in time. So if you come to Spokane, you can qualify 9 times over.
Wow.
Drawing for the Geo Challenge of the month.
Well, I better get busy.
Yeah. I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. Not hide one, find one. Or complete one.
So yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more adventure labs coming out as well. You know, the invite that's been happening, people are starting to get out, and we know there's a ton of the adventure lab credits that are out there that people are really looking to build some good adventures. And I think from what I'm hearing of the people who've mentioned that they have them, they're all kind of holding on to it because they're not placing those caches, and they really want to pour a lot of effort into their adventure labs and make something that's really good.
Nice.
Well, I would recommend, food for thought to do what we did and pool resources. If you have caching friends or other people in your area that have also been awarded, work together and, make it an even bigger adventure for people, and help each other out, because it is a bit of a learning curve, how to put these together.
And I got a shout out to our non-team members from our area who may be watching that, thank you. They're very considerate. They email us, Lisa or me, saying, "Hey, I've been awarded labs. Where are you guys putting yours? I don't want to cross contaminate
or duplicate efforts.
Duplicate efforts."
Yeah, we had a lot
of people doing that, and
reach out.
It was very appreciated. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
because I always worry about that too. We've got so many people who are sitting on those credits that have been extended. And I think that's one of the reasons why they originally did such short windows.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to make sure that you didn't have 2 people doing the same tour. Because you go for something like an art tour, for instance, and it's probably based on this brochure or whatever that someone's published, and they're just turning it into an adventure lab, which is a good idea for an adventure lab. But if you're doing something that's published like that, you could have your next door neighbor doing exactly the same thing. But yeah, I think having the extra time is really going to pay off with some better adventures than we saw before. Because I know a lot of people who were like within a couple of weeks of losing their credit just threw something out.
Oh.
Yeah. Because mine was originally supposed to be published in March. And, we were traveling, we had Yuma Mega, and family visits and such. And so I was really, and then COVID hit. So
Yeah.
I was really thankful that it was extended and it gave me a lot more time. And then the change of the rules that it, no physical containers, because I wanted, I'm thinking like, bounce kind of things.
Oh, nice. Yes.
I don't know how to do that. So just coming up with a code word at a location, that's a little easier.
Definitely.
True.
All right. Well, we're running at 50 minutes already, so we should probably wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us so much great info for the Adventure Labs, and hopefully people who do have those are going to get a lot of good ideas.
Yeah.
I sure hope so. I'm looking forward to doing a lot more, finding more out there. So, yay.
So if anyone out there is interested or has questions, I should say, feel free to contact me through the geocaching.com app or kidvegas19 at Gmail.
Or Spocash at Facebook as well.
We can either answer or we can distribute to our team that excelled in a certain area. We're happy to help.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
And we should also mention the businesses that you guys run during the day. So give us that plug real quick as well.
Sure. Well, cash-advance.com is our parent company, basically, for gear and inspiration for geocaching. And we have the Cache Crates, a monthly subscription box for geocaching. It's currently closed to new members, but we're planning to open up again, I think the end of September.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah, we're going to have a big prize for number 500 member join. Yeah. And then we're getting close there. And we have the Caching League, which is to teach new people how to geocache, and the Puzzle League, which is teaching people how to solve geocaching puzzles, not puzzle caches, but geocaching puzzles.
The concepts thereof.
Yeah. And then Compass Creek Designs for coin, tag, pin, and medallion design and production.
Other than that, we don't do anything.
We have nothing to do with
So now people know where to go for the advice on putting together their Adventure Labs and for the coin when they decide to actually turn it into a GeoCoin challenge.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to help with that too. Or just give advice.
And at the end of the week, if you have any energy left at 6:00 on Fridays, you put on Mappy Hour on Zoom. How do people find that?
Yeah. The easiest way was a couple ways. I put it on our Facebook group, our Facebook page for Cache Advance. It's an event. So look for the events on our Facebook page for Cache Advance. And if you're on my emailing list, emails go out midday every Friday with a reminder. So to get on the Zoom call, but it's also simulcast to our Facebook page as well. So you can watch there. But it's more fun in the Zoom room, so you can participate with the conversation.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, is actually participating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And our topic tomorrow is encounters with law enforcement.
Ooh, Leo.
Really short show because when's that ever happen?
Yeah.
Never happened.
Never happens. Unless you're Scott Burks.
Yeah.
That happens when he's not caching.
Sketchy.
All right. So check the Cachemaniacs website at cachemaniacs.com for more on the GeoGearheads, including show notes for this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads at cachemaniacs.com or through social media. Your support helps keep the Cachemaniacs shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron through the link on our website to support the Cachemaniacs shows. GeoGearheads is produced by Chris Offenauer and Daryl Wanberg. This show is copyright 2020 by Daryl Wanberg. All rights reserved.
Cash with the Cachemaniacs.